We realized that there's basically three things we have to control to hit a golf ball up in the air and towards our target. That's the club face, where the club face is looking. We want it looking in the direction that we're trying to hit the ball at impact. If I put this down as a target line, I'm trying to go that way. If I swung a golf club to the right of that target line, the club face would be square to that and the ball would go to the right. If I swung it to the left, the club face would be square to that and the ball would go to the left. So if I swing straight on my straight arc, then that club face would be square to that and I would hit the ball straight to my target. It gets pretty simple to understand why your ball went left if you know the club face is square. You swung that way. So don't swing that way. Change the direction you swing and you got it covered. Even if you go too far right, at least it's different, right? So if we know the club face is going to automatically square, that's one less thing to worry about. So what we call the hold to square that face is the natural hold. We have to be swinging on a path that is towards that target, a straight path at impact. We control the path by setting up with our arms on the same plane or aligned with the club shaft. So from face on, that simply means that the shaft of the club is aligned with my left arm, and from down the line, the face of the shaft of the golf club is aligned with my trail arm or my right arm. This means that the arms are on the same plane as the club shaft. And that makes it easy, and a plane I should define, it's like a tabletop. If you imagined a tabletop, and I laid this club and my arms down, they'd all be on top of that table. Does that make sense? Here they wouldn't be. Okay? Here they would be. Here they're on the same plane. So all golf is taking that plane and tilting it. And the reason it's important to have your arms on the same plane as the shaft is it makes it very simple to take the club back and forward on the same path. And that path you can use through intent, make that path straight. Does that make sense? This is the same concept we use when we're actually driving a nail with a hammer. We take it back and forward on the same path. Back and forward on the same path. We don't go like this and we don't go like that. Back and forward on the same path. The handle of the hammer is aligned with the trail forearm and it's on the same plane. It's just that golf's a two-handed game, so we put both arms on the same plane. We can go back and forward on the same path. So that's our single plane setup. And we have to have a descending angle of approach because the ball's on the ground. Now from there, we're actually able to go ahead and create speed and at that angle. That angle's critical. We have to have that descending angle to get the golf ball up in the air. So we use the same type of energy source that we do when we're driving a nail, kind of like these hammers. We've learned a lot from these. It's a pretty simple task. If I'm going to drive a nail vertically, I simply lift the hammer with my arm and then accelerate my arm towards the nail. Because the hammer head has weight, it lags behind my arm and I get this angle. We call that a leverage angle. When I accelerate that, that angle releases into what I'm striking and that creates the force to drive the nail into the piece of wood. Well, if I do the same thing with a golf club, I create that same angle and I deliver that strike just like I would with a hammer. Because the club has loft, it's going to hit below the golf ball, the equator of the ball, and it'll go up in the air. So it's the exact same reference that you would do with a hammer. So the concepts here are, you've got a natural hold, a single plane setup, and what we call drive the ball to the target. Drive the ball to the target is simply using leverage as a power source.